Hello, I'm Frank Armbruster, and I'm an inventor. I've been an inventor for a long time. I've even invented a clown that does magic. We're here today, though, to talk about a lady who's invented a wonderful organization called the Inventors Roundtable.
Rita, inventors make a lot of mistakes. What's the biggest single mistake that an inventor tends to make from your perspective?
I've done a lot of thinking about this and had a lot of experience with inventors. And the mistake that I see them make most often is have an idea, get patent, make money. And that is just wrong on so many levels. I spoke with a woman today, and she was just full of fantasy about the reality of her product. And inventors don't understand. It's hard work, and you need to have a stomach lining and a budget.
What should an inventor do first?
There's two things that an inventor can do that doesn't cost them any money. And the first one is to do as much searching as they possibly can on their own. And the next one then is to build their own version of a prototype. Duct tape, cardboard, Legos, it really doesn't matter, whatever's laying around the house. Those are the first two things that they really need to do to help them understand what it is that they're working on.
What's the purpose of that prototype that you just mentioned, that Lego and duct tape thing?
They really need to get it out of their head and into something three-dimensional. So it doesn't take sophisticated apparatus and prototyping to do that first one. Just either drawing it, sometimes they can draw it, sometimes Play-Doh works very well, but it helps them be able to better explain it to someone else when they hire an engineer if they've actually gotten it out of their head into something that's three-dimensional.
You mentioned a search. Why is a search so important in your mind?
If their idea, their concept has been done anywhere in the world at any time in history, they will not be granted a U.S. patent. So before you pay to have a search done, the best thing to do is do as much as you can on your own. Try different search engines. Understand if your product could be used in a different industry. Really look for it. Go into the United States Patent and Trademark Office database. It's uspto.gov. And look around, see what you can find. Plug in those keywords. Really look kind of with the blinders off. Inventors don't really want to find what they've got. They want to believe it's the only thing out there. So if they take the blinders off and really look, they can do well.
Inventors sometimes get cranky about spending money on a patent. What's your experience about inventors spending the money on the patent?
They are going to need to spend money on the patent. What they get cranky about is really just not understanding the entire process. The patent costs are a small fraction of their total outlay. So if they're cranky about spending $10,000 on their intellectual property, they shouldn't be doing this. It's really that simple. The intellectual property is what allows them to negotiate. It's what allows them to get a licensing deal, or it allows them to negotiate if someone's infringing on their patent. No patent, no negotiation. It's that simple. So if they're going to be cranky about investing that amount of money in the patent, which is only a fraction of their total investment, then they need to keep their day job.
But they see, as I see frequently, advertising on the radio and late night TV about here's an invention promotion company that will help you get to market. What do you think about those invention promotion companies? Are they successful?
No. I mean, it's a very simple, straight answer. Their success rate is 0.01%. And it doesn't take a person very long to understand that these outfits have made their money on them, not on the product's success. They have no skin in the game. You pay them up front for what they're going to do. And generally what you have is a patent search you can't use, a patent that would not hold up in court, and a prototype that doesn't work. I can't be clearer than that. Inventing is hard work. It is one step at a time. There are no shortcuts. There's no one who's going to do it for you. It's one step at a time.
What you just said reminds me of a quote that I know from Thomas Edison. He said, most people look at opportunity and they miss it because it's wearing overalls and looks like work.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly right. Inventing is hard work.
Well, how many inventors are successful?
It really depends on the steps that they take and how soon they get help. Inventors who are alone in their garage and they are under the assumption that they are just going to manufacture this themselves and sell hundreds of thousands of them and be a millionaire in 5 years and retire in Tahiti. Those guys, their success rate is less than 5%. All right, the inventors who get help from other inventors who've been there, done that, actually gotten a product into the marketplace, now their success rate, if they're teachable, if they're willing to ask good questions, and they're willing to take the advice, now their success rate starts to approach that corporate level, which is just over 50%.
I've been to many of your meetings with what you've invented, although you claim you're not an inventor. You've invented a group called the Inventors Roundtable. What kind of success rate does the Inventors Roundtable have?
Our inventors who get through that first level where they've got to get their search done. And we always tell inventors the first money you spend is on a professional search. Not the one that you do, it's that next level of searching that you pay for. Generally they're running around $500 for a professional search. It includes the USPTO database, it includes an international search, and it includes a product search. Once we get that back and the attorney says, okay, here's your sweet spot, this is where you can work, and they take that leap of faith, all right, to move forward, their success rate's about 40%.
Well, if you don't recommend or you recommend against these inventor submission help companies, what do you recommend? How should an inventor get started? Where does an inventor get help?
There are some good places. Most communities will have kind of a mentoring group, or you can find an inventor who's living in that community that may be willing to give you some advice. If they've gotten a product into the marketplace, they know what their mistakes were. And most of the time inventors are willing to advise you on how to avoid the mistakes that they made. The Inventors Roundtable is in the Front Range. We try to help people as much as we can online, but really it's just a matter of doing some due diligence. Inventing is hard work. I say that all the time. So going to try to find a company that will do it all for you, they don't exist. They may take it all from you, but they're not going to do it all for you.
An inventor gets an idea and he often imagines that he's going to make a whole bunch of money. How do you talk to that kind of inventor with those kinds of expectations?
My gut instinct is to tell them to call me in a year when they've run into the wall a few times. What I usually advise them is to kind of hold still a minute. You know, we want to make sure that we get things done in the right order. And I'll frequently tell them some stories about inventors who jumped the gun a little bit. And, you know, my favorite one is this woman who spent $42,000 on a product that could not be made. But she just was so sure that her idea was going to revolutionize the world of curling irons that when she sat in a room with us and every engineer in the room told her, you cannot do that, she was angry. I mean, she had her patent issued. She spent $11,000 on a patent, went to 2 invention promotion companies that told her it was a wonderful idea, and all she needed was one real engineer to say, you can't do that. And her invention was a battery-operated curling iron. But nobody told her she'd have to have it hooked to a car battery to work.
Wow. Well, inventors need to launch a product into a marketplace. How does an inventor go about launching a product?
The best way we have found to launch a product is to go to a professional trade show. I was speaking with a woman today and she was going to put together $250,000 to launch her product, and I go, no. You are living with the idea or imagining the idea that actually someone at the decision-making level of a corporation wants to talk to you. And they don't need to see a marketing plan. If they don't know their market already, you shouldn't be talking to them. All right? They know instantly if you walk in with a product idea, what are the sales in that division? All right? What is the consumer base in that division? You don't need to tell them what it is.
We
All right?
have several, excuse me, we have several trade shows going on in Denver right now. We have a gun show, and we have a sportsman show, and we have a gardening show. Is that the kind of thing you're talking about for trade shows?
No. Those are consumer-based trade shows where consumers are welcome to go in and pay a little admission fee and go and shop. I'm talking about the professional level of trade show where store owners go. All right? The consumer is not allowed in. These are the buyers and the manufacturers and the distributors that go to these shows. That's where the inventor needs to be.
Well, I've attended a lot of your Inventors Roundtable meetings, and I've been very impressed by them. How can the person who's watching this show right now, how can one of those people get more information about Rita Crompton, who's known as the Inventor Lady, and the Inventors Roundtable? How does one get more information about you?
All you need to do is Google Inventor Lady or the website www.inventorlady.com, and that's my blog site. And most of the topics that we've talked about here are in there in different forms, but they really give the nuts and bolts about how to invent something.
Well, I thank you very much what you've done for inventors like me. I've learned a lot from you, and I do appreciate it. Thank you very much for letting us come into your living room and talk to you like this.
Thank you, Frank.